Hi everyone, thank you for making it to the end of the last quarter of the day. Usually the toughest, but the hardcore is still here, so glad to see you here. I'm going to talk to you about mobile engagement from my experience at Hailo, and just talk to you about how we leverage our mobile engagement primarily to try and drive consideration from consumers, and from that consideration we hopefully drive usage of Hailo, and then drive frequency of use, which hopefully helps us drive a little loyalty. But we're a mobile app company, we're mobile first. So I'm going to talk to you about some of the lessons that we've learned along the way and how we apply it. And the truth is, we have made a few mistakes along the way, but the beauty of that is we learn very quickly, we pivot very quickly, and we move on pretty rapidly. So some of those lessons are in some of the decks that I'm going to talk about. A little bit about myself. My background is mainly in video games. I worked at Ubisoft as a brand manager, always been in marketing. And then from Ubisoft I went to ITV, which is a TV channel here in the UK, where I looked after sports and news over there. And then I went over to Sega, where I was marketing manager. But it's at Sega that I really got to learn about mobile consumers, and really got on the hood of mobile and started to identify with the medium itself and started to sort of bring the lessons that I learned in marketing and the other businesses and apply it to mobile. So some of the things I talk about today, mainly learned at my time at Sega, but also how we're applying that in my current role at Hailo. So, in exchange of information, you can't read that clearly, but this is all about you guys. This is all I know about the people in this room. So, as a value exchange, I just wanted to do a short exercise where I drive a little bit of engagement with minimal participation, but there's a good reward at the end of this. So, I just want to get a good understanding of your taxi users. So, put your hand up, or only for a second, if you have never taken a taxi or a cab. If you've never taken a cab. Great, brilliant, that's a good start. So put your hand up if you've never used a mobile app to take a taxi or cab. Okay, a few more people. Finally, put your hand up if you've never used Hailo to take a taxi or cab. I expected that. So, cheers, mate. As a reward for being so honest, and to help you engage with Hailo, I'm going to offer you £20 off your next taxi journey taken before the 1st of April. But the only condition is you have to use Hailo. And if you put my Japanese code, Masuku 20, you'll be able to get yourself £20 off your next taxi. So that's the value exchange that I'm going to give to you. But a little bit about Hailo. So obviously we're a mobile hailing app. We are very a technology-focused business, so it's very easy. You download the app, you open the app, you press pick me up here, a taxi comes and finds you wherever you are, you get in the taxi, your taxi drops you off at the destination, and you get out. We're trying to push that frictionless experience and help consumers get around cities in an easy and frictionless way. So as a business, we've invested a lot over the last few years in technology. And that's where our heart is really. Mobile is the platform that we started in, and it's the platform that we continue to innovate on. I heard about sort of earlier in one of the talks about people migrating from being a desktop-first business into a mobile business. And I'm in this business, which is mobile first, and we're starting to learn about desktop. Because even now, we're still finding there's some customers who want to book some taxi journeys on desktop. And we weren't prepared for it because we were always focused on mobile. So if you imagine when you are going to the airport to get a flight, most people will book their flight on desktop. They don't book it on mobile, they book it on desktop. But we still want you to use Hailo to be the people that take you from your home to the airport. But if you're not doing that, if you're not doing the flight booking on mobile, then we have to find ways to engage with you in desktop. So we're starting to build tools that allow us to bring our mobile experience onto desktop. And although I feel it's an easier transition to go from mobile to desktop, just to satisfy for us what is a very small use case in the universe of taxis, but we're still taking some learnings that we took from mobile in order to drive engagement of those people who are still booking a journey to the airport on desktop. So those are some of the things that we're trying to learn and apply across the business. So the first pillar that I'll talk about in terms of how we drive engagement from users is about customers and about learning who our customers are. And we're obsessed about this. We do a lot of studies ourselves, sort of using widely available data. We do a lot of sort of data mining from some of the journeys that we see within our own data. And we really obsess about trying to understand who our customers are, trying to understand how people live in the city. We look at trends, whether that's daily trends, to find out when people are coming into the city. What's the rush hour? How are they getting around the city during the day? How are they, what are they doing at 5 o'clock? Are they going out for dinner or are they going home? We can see the demand during the day and try and take these learnings and these understandings and apply them to how we drive engagement from those users. We take weekly trends when we see towards the end of the week, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, as people start to go out more, our demand increases. Monthly trends, on payday at the end of the month, people are more likely to use on-demand car services because they're feeling a bit flash and they want to spend a little bit more on a nice ride. We see annual trends where we see in January, nobody goes out. In July and August, you're all on holiday. And in December, everyone is out. So we see the ebbs and flows, and we try and use all this to try and understand how can we engage using this great device, but to continue being relevant to those users. And ultimately, with the goal of driving consideration so people consider us, and driving frequency so people use us and use us often, and hopefully getting loyalty out of those users. So customer understanding is the first pillar, and we're really obsessed about doing that, and we continue to sort of try and eat our own dog food, is the term that is used, which is going out into the cities. We're in London, we're in Dublin, we're in Madrid, we're in Barcelona, Singapore, Tokyo, all countries and cities that behave very differently. So we make it a point for every local operator to go out and really understand that city and live that city. And it's only then that we can understand how we can engage with those customers. So we leverage a lot in technology, and so having built that understanding of who the customers are, how they live in the city, what their behaviors are, we tap into what we know best, which is the technology. And I want to talk a little bit about this product that we are using at the moment to help us engage and move us forward. Is we looked around at businesses who were really good at using technology to engage with their customers and have the ability to move those customers into sort of more loyal users. And one of those companies we used was Starbucks. We looked at was Starbucks. And we looked at my own personal experience, for example, is I live in Twickenham, I commute through Waterloo, and I work at Somerset House, where the Hailo office is. And through that journey, Starbucks engaged with me 3 times in that journey, through push alerts, through the notification center. Every time I walk past a Starbucks, they push to me that, hey Mike, you can pay using your phone in a Starbucks which is near you. So my local Starbucks, the one at the train station when I arrive at Waterloo, and the one near my office. And I may not engage every time they do that, but every time they surface themselves through the mobile device, it increases the consideration that I do give them when I want a cup of coffee during the day. So to this day, when I want my daily coffee, I walk past 2 of their competitors to go to Starbucks, because they've given me value by appearing on my phone 3 times on my way to work. They're also giving me value by making it easy for me to pay for my coffee. So I don't need my credit card, I don't need cash. All I need is phone battery in order to go and get a coffee from Starbucks. So I walk past 2 of their competitors 100 yards down the road, so I can walk in and use my phone to get myself a coffee and walk back. And the quality of the coffee is probably not as good as the competitors I walk past, but the convenience they've given me and the engagement they've driven from me allows me to become a frequent user of Starbucks and to become a retained user and drive loyalty through that. So we took those learnings and we built our own product called Pay with Hailo. And Pay with Hailo is designed to give value to the user whenever they're in a taxi. And it leverages on some of the technologies that the guys were talking about earlier, one in particular being iBeacon. So what Pay with Hailo does is when you get into a taxi without using Hailo to call that taxi, we surface Hailo to allow you to pay for that ride. So if you were in London, for example, and you stop a Hailo in the street, if you get into that taxi, into a Hailo driver, we tell you that you can pay for this ride. So you don't need cash, you don't need a credit card, you just need your phone to pay for that taxi. But when we started doing this, we used to send a notification to someone who has a Hailo on their phone, but have not called that taxi with Hailo. And they're in the phone, and they get, they're in the taxi, and they get a push notification saying, hey Mike, we can see you're in a Hailo, would you like to pay with Hailo for this ride? And we saw pretty good engagement out of that. People were tapping on the notification. But what we then dug into was the sentiment of that engagement. People found it a little bit creepy, to be honest. People found that you sending me a message to tell me that I'm in a taxi right now and you're asking me to use Hailo to pay is a little bit too familiar. Even though we were giving value, I think people still found that we were being a little bit too aggressive with our approach. So we rolled it back a bit, and we managed to do this very quickly because technology allows you to go out, execute, and then iterate on that execution. So all we do now is surface a little Hailo icon in the bottom left hand of your lock screen, just to let you know that if you want to pay for this taxi with Hailo, you can. But we don't aggressively push a message to you. So I think it's about using these platforms, taking those lessons and iterating after execution and continuing learning and understanding what your customers are willing to take or are not willing to take. And it goes back to all those privacy issues where you do have to understand the balance between giving someone value and taking the liberty of their privacy. And I think this is a great product for us, and our ambition is to remove that friction in the user's engagement. We have visions in cities where there is street hailing, where you have the ability to stop a taxi in the street, get into the taxi, tell him where you want to go, he'll drop you off, and then you just get out. You don't even have to interact with your phone. And Pay with Hailo, that's the ambition, that's where we want to go, which is you can now just get in and out of taxis without even talking about a transaction and talking about money. And that's the value we want to give, but the way we deliver that, the way we engage with those users, has to be sensitive to how those users use the product and how those users feel about the way they travel around the city and the technology they use. The third pillar I want to talk about is partnerships. So going back to talking about how we try and understand the customer's trends, daily trends, weekly trends, monthly and annual trends, is we know that we're a utility app. People open their phone, they tap on the icon, they probably dwell in our app for about 15-20 seconds, call it, and they close the app. So we know we're not in the user's day in, day out. We probably are used once a day or 3 or 4 times a week. So we know we're not always there for the user. We're not always engaging with the user. So we try and leverage on people who are also engaging with the user by giving those users value. So this is a partnership example that we have in Spain, where we partnered with Iberia, who are owned by the same group, who own the same group as BA, where it's an air miles program, which says if you get a Hailo, you will contribute towards building enough air miles for that flight towards the end of the year. And I think this is us recognizing that we want to continue giving our users value, but we want to increase consideration, understanding that we're not always going to be the brand that they turn to on a daily basis. But we want to leverage another touch points within their travel life, which allow us to give them value through that. So we partner with people on flights, we're partnering with people like TravelX, where we know TravelX are driving people to the airport in order to exchange their money when they're going on holiday. So we partner with TravelX to get their customers to the airport and increase the touch points that we then engage with those users. So it's not all about keeping engagement within your own ecosystem, but also building partnerships and building tools that allow you to get out of that. Another thing we're building at the moment are APIs that allow us to plug into other people's apps or other people's desktop sites. So imagine you finish booking your Iberia Plus flight, and the next step is to think about how you're going to get to the airport. We're integrating a good API where you press one button to book that trip to the airport because you've already got your details from your flight booking. All you now need is to press a button to say, when my time comes to go to the airport, please send me a taxi and deliver me there. And all of these things are designed to continually drive that engagement. And it's about doing it beyond your product, beyond our app, beyond the phone, and taking our products to the customer wherever they happen to be in that moment in time. So partnerships are a good place to sort of leverage when it comes to driving engagement. And the final piece of the puzzle for us, the final pillar, is about giving a sense of local. So we're a London company, and we're looking for international growth, and we're opening in cities where we want to repeat the model that we have in London, which has been successful for us. But what we soon realized is we are a locally, the reason we're popular in the cities we're in, because we're taking a model which we know very well, which is local, and trying to take it into other international markets. The thing that we learned from the partners that we work with was you have to empower people locally in order to help drive that engagement. So no matter how big you want your brand to be or how international, having that element of local understanding and local knowledge of people who understand the ebbs and flows of the city, people who understand the culture of that city, who understand the language of that city, who understand the sentiment of that city, those are the people that will help drive engagement when you try and expand beyond your local markets. And we found in Ireland, for example, is where we have the best brand recognition and the best brand strength, because we have a local Irish team who are from Dublin and they really understand it, and we give them the ability to tailor the product to their local market so that it behaves like a local product. With all the brand guidelines that we have, and with all the technology security that we give them the freedom and the trust to behave in the way that that city will allow them to. So I think that's the fourth pillar for us, is taking consumer understanding and applying it at a local level so that people really do behave in a way that allows them to engage with the local people. So in summary, it's just talking about those four pillars, which is understanding the customers is really important for us. So we invest a lot in that. Once you have that understanding, it's leveraging on technology. And leveraging on technology for us is about executing, going out and delivering the products that we built. And in the understanding that we will go out and execute, and we're likely to make mistakes along the way, but technology allows us to pivot very quickly. So we don't hold back when we build a product that we think our customers will need. We'll get it out there and then learn from real data from those users about whether we are engaging in the right way or not, whether we need to pivot or maybe even scrap that product. But getting out there and executing is what technology really brings for us. And partnerships is about recognizing that users aren't always going to engage within your ecosystem. So don't be scared or shy to go beyond your own borders and work with other partners who are giving value to the same user that you want to as well. And the final thing is about empowering those local users. So with that, I'll quickly sort of finish and give you that code again. If you haven't used Hailo, feel free to do that over the next few days. The code expires on the 1st of April, so please